So today we're going to take a little stroll along some of the West Haven beaches that are between Bradley Point, which you see up ahead, and Sandy Point, which is a little over a mile and a half away. Bradley Point is known for having a Veterans Memorial to the various wars. There's a large memorial to the Vietnam War, which you see right there, actually in the middle, and we're crossing around it. It's low tide right now here, and we're just scrolling around the western portion of Bradley Point. That's Bradley Point right there. And we're going to come up onto Bradley Point and look at the view of the beaches as we see up ahead. Down here, that's a memorial you see down below with the flag to a man from West Haven who won the Medal of Honor. And here we come along the beach, and again it's fairly low tide right now, not all the way, and we're going to swing out and go around Bradley Point. This is my second time going over water. If I make a little mistake, which I didn't today fortunately, I would lose the drone, but we're swinging around here. Those rocks out ahead are either Bradley Rocks, I think, and then Savin Rocks out beyond that. Different from Savin Rock. We'll see Savin Rock later on, but these are called the Savin Rocks, and I believe they're distinct from the Savin Rock that we'll see. Here's Bradley Point looking from the water, and we're still swinging around here. So the breakwaters over there and more beaches, which we're not going to visit today. Here we go, and we're going to come in here now, I think. This area is pretty popular for people to visit. As we'll see later on, there are stones, there are bricks that you can actually purchase and have laying down on the walkways to commemorate either yourself or veterans in your family. Okay, here we go. This is the Savin Rock Trail, which goes from Bradley Point. Okay, we're swinging around again. And this is all the veterans memorials. There are memorials to all the wars, the recent wars, I think, that West Haven has taken part in. We'll see, I think, later on the actual Vietnam Memorial, which is a large memorial here. And we're looking at the point again. It's a very pleasant walk around here, and you can see, you're looking east there, and that land up ahead is actually eastern New Haven. There's a point out there with a lighthouse called Lighthouse Point, and we'll get over to the bay, which is the New Haven Harbor, which is fed by the Quinnipiac River, up which somewhere is Quinnipiac University in New Haven. Okay, we're going along the piers right now. Those piers are very good for fishermen. You can go out there and fish for blues and other fish, maybe blackfish that are running at the time. Snapper blues, I think, probably come out that way. I've gone to a pier a little further along near Sandy Point for snapper blues. Snapper blues are just small bluefish that are quite tasty compared to the older bluefish, which are very oily and have a different flavor. And there you see the swamp there. That's a saltwater marsh. There are a lot of those on the coast of Connecticut, and they are now protected. Okay, I'm at Bradley Point, which is actually out over there. But there's one entrance here. It's the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, as you see here. So I'm going to walk down over here and go to the memorial. This is Bradley Point in West Haven, Connecticut. Okay, here we are. I think this is the Vietnam Memorial, but there's also the Veterans Walk of Honor, which walks down that way toward the point. And let me see what this is here. I think this is the Vietnam Memorial. Yes, it is country. Da Nang. Of course, I was I'm a Vietnam veteran. I was a Marine Corps. I was actually stationed like right around here somewhere, south of Da Nang. But anyway, it's enough of me. This is the list of, I believe, West Haven veterans who served in the Vietnam War. Let's see, we might recognize a few names here. But it doesn't say how many. And the ones with the gold stars were killed in action. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from West Haven who were killed in action. I'm from Seymour. We had 2 actually killed in action in Vietnam. Although there's at least 1/3 who died some years after the war, I believe from wounds suffered during the war. No, don't want me in there. Anyway, so that's the Vietnam Memorial, similar to the wall down in Washington, and it's right on the coast in West Haven. Here we're looking out to the west, and we're closer to Bradley Point, which is over there. And in this area there's, I guess, the Veterans Walk of Honor, and there are bricks on 3 sides of this area here, this little park. World War II, Vietnam, more recent wars. You don't have to be a war veteran. You could, if you were in the service or someone in your family was in the service, you could buy a brick in their honor. And as we come up on this walk, this becomes part of the boardwalk, the Savin Rock boardwalk that goes along the West Haven beaches all the way to Stowe's Restaurant. The Beach Road, I believe it's called over there. World War I, 1917 to 18. And down over here we have Persian Gulf War, Afghanistan War, and the Iraq War. And these veterans who served in all these wars. This area here on Memorial Day, there's a commemoration, and some people give speeches. This is in honor of William Soderman, a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. And this talks a little bit about him. Maybe it swings around by the point and heads this way here. We'll go up to the point. I feel like I'm herding geese. There are benches around, so you can come here, you could sit, you could picnic. You could bother the birds, I guess. Although that was, again, a seagull. Hello, baby. Hope he doesn't have an egg. I'll come over this way. And got those rocks out there. On low tide, there are sandbars that you could walk out to those rocks. You can probably see that in my video. I take a video around the point with my drone. Very beautiful day today, a little cold. It's the middle of March, but makes for some nice walking here. Later on, unfortunately, the West Haven beaches are public. However, it's not easy to find parking here, and you have to pay for parking if you're not a resident, unfortunately, which I can understand, I guess. And this is the east side of the point. Oh, we're looking south here, by the way, just so you know. We're on the north side of Long Island Sound. If people are watching this and don't know the geography of Connecticut, the Connecticut coast is on the north end of Long Island Sound. And you probably can't quite see that, but in the distance I can see parts of Long Island, which is about 12 to 15 miles away from here, south of us. More ducks. Quack, quack, quack. And let's walk over here. Of course, we have the flag again at half-mast. Oh, these days it seems like it's always at half-mast. That's sad. A lot of crazy things going on in this world. Okay, I took pictures of this area when the tide was down a lot. It's not quite high tide now, but you can see the water at a higher tide. There's a lot more water there, fewer sandbars. But in my drone videos you'll see a lower tide. And this is the walk along the West Haven shore, the Savin Rock Trail, they call it. This is a memorial to the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, forgotten no more. And freedom is not in honor of all West Haven men and women who served our country in the armed forces. Freedom is not free. I see 5 insignia: the Air Force, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Marine Corps, and the Navy. They're going to have to put a 6th one up there for the Space Force. Oh, I wonder how we'll do that. Yes. Right, now we're heading east along the Savin Rock Trail, and you see Savin Rock up ahead. As we're flying over to and around Savin Rock, we could talk a little bit about the history of West Haven, which formed a part of the larger New Haven colony. The first settlements in West Haven took place in 1648, and the area was called West Farms. During the American Revolution, there were frequent skirmishes in West Haven between invading British troops and the local citizen militia. And for a time, West Haven was occupied by the British. The seal of the city actually shows a young militiaman, Thomas Painter, who would climb upon Savin Rock in order to watch for British ships that might be approaching. And Camel Avenue, a main thoroughfare in West Haven today, was actually named after a British officer who had a reputation for treating the local population well when the British occupied the town. There had been a popular amusement park in West Haven called the Savin Rock Amusement Park. The park got its start around 1870 when a ferry pier and a hotel were built on Beach Street. It was developed further in the early 20th century and eventually included a roller coaster that went partly over the water and other carnival rides and games, as well as the carousel and the funhouse. I especially remember the funhouse going into it when I was a kid in the late 1950s. The park eventually closed in the early 60s. Savin Rock itself is named after the savin tree, a type of red cedar tree that was growing on top of the small hill, which is itself an outcropping of volcanic basaltic rock. We're going to follow the coast and the Savin Rock Trail. Down below with the red roofs was a conference center, and there was Jimmy's of Savin Rock, the restaurant. And you might see a little bit of that as we come through around this way here. Again, those piers are used for fishing. I fished off them myself. In the summertime, there are usually some people fishing, families fishing, individuals fishing off the piers. They go right to the end of the piers and wherever else they want to go. Okay, we're coming along, we're doing a little tour around, and now we're starting to look north. Those are actually senior apartments, those tall buildings there. And then you have private residential apartments and homes up around that area. And we're heading south again, we're looking south. And we're swinging around. Okay, I do a little, this is one of the piers. I do a little movement off to the pier, and I go all the way to the end of the pier, risking my drone again, and I make it back on safely. I have to watch out so I don't hit one of those lights. Okay, so I'm not an expert at this yet, sorry. There's some ducks out there. There's a smattering of ducks, and so one of those birds looking for a fish. And way out there, you can see there's looks like a lobster boat. And we're swinging around. I don't think I'm going to come all the way back down. No, ooh, got it again. And now we're actually looking southward, heading north. I thought this would be kind of cool. We're going away from Savin. We're going away from Jimmy's of Savin Rock, that building in the middle there, up ahead. And we're coming back. You see there's a lot of parking, but unfortunately the parking is for residents. Not right now. Actually, you can visit in the fall and winter and early spring and not have to worry about being a resident, but there are certain times when you'll get fined. And we're going along the boardwalk here. And okay, now we're heading north. We've just seen that swimming pool. Those are condominiums on the left. They're not that expensive. I think there was one for sale last year for $150,000, a two-bedroom. That's a swimming pool there for the condominiums. It's not a public pool. And you see even more piers coming up along here. That yellow building on the left has some nice apartments. They're a little bit more expensive. I think they've gone down in price. I'm going to look at them. And between, there we go, I'm getting up there. And what you see is that's Stowe's restaurant. There's work being done on it just before you get to those yellow apartments. It's a seafood restaurant, but it's not open at the moment. And now we're off the actual Savin Rock Trail, and we're just on Beach Road. There's more piers up here, more public beaches. The beaches are actually very nice. The water gets warm in the summertime, so very good swimming. You can go, I think you probably go clamming out here. I'm more used to going clamming in Milford. That little blue building, see, we're coming up on the left, was a bait shop, a very popular one. But it's for sale, and I'm sure they'll be putting up condominiums or some big huge house or something eventually. And we're getting ready to come around this point. And we'll be going onto Sandy Point. See Sandy Point in the distance. We're going to take a fly over Sandy Point and take a look at New Haven. I have kind of a nice panoramic view of New Haven coming up. And that little building down below there is Chick's. It was Chick's. It was a decent restaurant, and now it's closed. Okay, we're flying over Sandy Point now, towards Sandy Point. This is actually a wildlife, it's a bird sanctuary where there's certain times when the birds are laying their eggs, you're not allowed to come here. As a way of protecting, I believe the plovers and maybe some other birds that are protected. And we get out to over here, we're going to do a little scan around New Haven Harbor. This is New Haven Harbor now. And those are the breakwaters. And that's lighthouse, the lighthouse at Lighthouse Point in the middle there. And now we're swinging around. Now this land is not straight across. It actually indents into almost a bay right over there. You can't see that as you're flying over. And we're coming up now in that area there's some public pavilions you can actually rent. And then we're swinging around. This is all New Haven, by the way. A strip of that is New Haven. To the east is East Haven. I believe that's a power plant there. And we're just passing by. This is East Rock here. and part of downtown New Haven. Now, way in the distance there, that I believe is Sleeping Giant, the state park, and it looks like a sleeping giant. You see the head on the left. And here's now downtown New Haven. That tall building there is the Knights of Columbus building. And we're swinging around. That's West Rock, straight up ahead. More basalt from the ancient volcano. And we're swinging around Long Wharf. And we're swinging around now. We're going into West Haven. And those two big buildings you see on the hill there are actually the VA hospital. It's a very good VA hospital. I'm very familiar with it. And we're swinging around. Now this is West Haven, looking from the point, Sandy Point. Okay, we're back on the mainland here and heading back toward Chicks where I had parked my car. And the drone will be closing up over there. And I think the final scene would be looking back at the beaches in this part of West Haven. Okay, if you're enjoying my little videos, please subscribe so I know that my efforts are appreciated. And I have more exciting, world-shaking videos coming very soon.